Good evening, ladies
What's
and gentlemen. Third Down Thursdays with Coach Bruce and MJ. Very short introduction this evening because we have a special guest waiting in the wings. So, Bruce,
Yes, sir.
take it away with the introduction.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you guys the offensive line coach from U of I, former University of New Mexico tackle, I believe, Bart Miller. Bart, what's up, man?
Hey, Bruce, MJ, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, man, no problem, man. So what's going on with you, man? It's been a long time since I've talked to you, dude.
It certainly has, Bruce. It's good to see you, man.
It's good to see you too, brother.
I, got into, went to play college football, and after I got done playing, went to the Blackhawks for a couple of years in their front office as they were kind of making their run, and then I got into coaching not too long after that, and have kind of bounced around the country and had some success and had some failures, and then this game is and this profession is so transient, and we've kind of been all over the place, but now we're back in Illinois and back in the Big Ten, and couldn't be happier.
I love it, man. I love it. So, so your experiences. I know you were the Wisconsin offensive line coach. Am I right on that? Was that what you?
Yeah, that's right. I actually got my start as a graduate assistant there, and then was fortunate enough to get promoted to be the O-line coach. So that was a heck of a start to a career.
Hell yeah, it was.
Rose Bowls and draft picks and All-Americans and everything else. And I had a coach tell me one time that I'll spend my whole career trying to get back to the Rose Bowl. And at the time, I'd already been to two. And I was like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. And sure enough, I'm fighting to get back there. So
hey, man, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a part of that team at U of I right now to bring them to the Rose Bowl, you've done something right, bro.
Well, I tell you
That's
what,
true.
We're making strides now. I know U of I hadn't had the most success in our lifetime. They've been fairly inconsistent, but they've had some winning teams. But
Right.
we're doing some good things down there, and it's going to take some time, but we're going to build it the right way, and we're in this thing for the long haul.
Dude, I'm going to dive right in if you don't mind, Bart.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was doing a little bit of research on recruitment class that you guys have had for this upcoming year. And one of the guys, Chrysler.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chrysler.
man. Yeah, man. And that's an offensive lineman, dude. So how'd you pull that guy, man? Like they're saying 24th in the nation.
Yeah, he's
kid
a
looks
heck
like a
of a player.
beast.
We went to the junior college ranks for two players, Isaiah Adams and Zy Chrysler, and both those guys will end up playing football for us. They're very, very talented players. And Zai's massive. He's like the guys we had at Wisconsin. He's a little raw, underdeveloped. We got to you really work him a little bit to try to get his body in a little bit better shape. But he's powerful and strong. He's very coachable, and he's got tremendous upside, tremendous talent. So we're excited for him. And we got another guy, Isaiah Adams, that we got from Garden City, another junior college guy, and he came in day one and has already cracked the starting lineup. So we're really excited
Awesome.
about the class we have coming in.
That's awesome. So, what is the difference for recruitment for guys in high school and guys that are a part of like a junior college aspect? What's the difference?
Well, it's changing right now with the landscape of college football, right? With these new name, image, and likeness frontier that we're on, and in the transfer portal that we're in, like the whole recruiting game that we've known for the last really 20, 25 years is changing because of the landscape of college football. So we're still, that's what I'm doing here, in Chicago right now is this is my area. I'm going door to door. I was at Hershey High School yesterday and Prospect and everywhere else. But so we still recruit the high school kids and still try to, we believe in that development.
Right.
But you treat the transfer portal, you treat the junior college ranks as kind of what it is free agency to try to fill a gap, and where there is a recruiting miss or maybe just a hole in your roster for whatever reason, attrition or whatever it is. So that's really the mindset in terms of how you take. You go for a quick fix, or not a quick fix, but a more experienced type player, maybe hopefully a more mature player.
Right.
But the style of recruitment could change too, right? A lot of times these guys that have gone to the JUCO ranks, that have transferred from another program, they've been through this recruitment already, so they don't need all the bells and whistles. They want to know, what are you going to do to develop me now
Yeah.
What are you going to do to make me a player now so I can get to the next level? Because that's should be their goal, right? Is to get to the highest level possible. High school kids, there's a wide variety of what they look for, right? Some are really concentrated on academics. Some are concentrated more on a style of play. Some are concentrated on the logo, the conference logo, some wins and losses,
right?
Or maybe their parents are alums or whatever it is, right? So there's a fandom element to that,
right?
So it changes really based on the kid and in each situation, but things are changing, guys, in college football, and I kind of hold on to your seats because it's gonna be a wild ride here in the next couple of years.
Let's go.
So Bart, question I have for you. Not to take away from your professional career, but you knew Bruce when he was
here we go. We're starting
a crazy young man. And I don't know how much you interacted with Bruce in high school, but if you could just
daily
give us a little insight into how this, grown child became the man that he is today. Just give me a little insight into what Bruce was like in high school.
I tell you, the thing I remember, Bruce, and I don't mean to throw you under the bus here.
It's okay.
Oh, throw him under the bus.
The thing that I remember about Bruce, and you're really close with Eric Farrell, and you guys were probably the most sports-minded, knowledgeable guys, I think, in all of high school. And it doesn't surprise me in the least that this is your profession now, and you're coaching and on the in the media and following sports and tracking sports because. I remember going to basketball games, and you guys were big basketball guys, and it just that level of intensity that you guys had and passion you had for sport. When I look back on high school, I've got some obviously great memories like we all do from high school, but I remember Bruce being just an unbelievable sports guy, sports mind.
Appreciate that.
Loves the Bulls, right? You still love the
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Love the Bulls, man.
Still won't shut up about him.
Always. Hell yeah, man. I still got my
Yeah, things haven't changed, obviously. But
no, man.
It doesn't surprise me the least what you're doing, and it's cool to see you have that success and chase that dream.
I appreciate that, man.
So you're saying he argued about sports and yelled at people about sports just as much as he does now?
I probably didn't get any arguments with him because I didn't want to lose.
Oh no, come on!
I didn't know as much about sports about the other sports as he did.
Wow. Now you're just trying to make me feel good. I appreciate that. Thanks, man.
So that's clearly working. Bruce is happy.
This is the selling aspect that you do with recruits, isn't it, bro?
Yeah, I'm a professional at this.
Right, he's working you, Bruce.
Right. Exactly. No, but I appreciate that. Actually, so to speak on that, the memory I actually have of Bart, I have two. One of which he pancaked me in practice.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
I remember that. Oh, 100%. He totally him. All right, so we had
that wouldn't be hard, but
I'm not gonna lie. Like our offensive line was absolutely insane. Like our junior year, most like we had Anthony Kern and like you as bookends at tackles, and I used to get my ass whooped by both of these guys always. But no, so that's the one memory I have of getting. But he was always nice. So Bart would always help me up. So thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, if I'm getting trucked by a D1 athlete, I'm cool with it. I mean, whatever.
We had a good team. We were pretty good that 01 year especially. We had a lot of guys go on to play. Not just obviously different levels of college football, but we had and college sports. We were a very pretty talented group.
Athletic, dude. We were super athletic. I thought super athletic. Yeah. But yeah, man. So the other memory too with you is I actually did if you remember, a media thing for announcements, and you were the one of 5 athletes that I chose to talk about. Do you remember that? I remember
vaguely, kind of. And the morning announcements on the TV and
yeah. That's hilarious. I remember yours. It was you, Jesse Evans, Megan Heitink, and some of those. It was that's pretty funny, man. Good stuff, man. All right, so to go back now, to bring it back to I love the walk down memory lane. By the way, hold on, I don't know if you can see this or not, Bart, but Tep says hello.
Oh, Tep, what's up, man?
So I had to toss that up there. But so I actually did want to ask you though, What are the difficulties though with recruiting in the Chicagoland area? Because I know you're competing against like all Big Ten schools, more specifically Northwestern. So what's it like kind of battling with them and kind of like trying to, I mean, because I know you guys are probably looking at similar like athletes. So what's it like with that aspect?
Well, that's a good question. The Chicago is such a it's a Big Ten city, right? But it doesn't necessarily have one team, right? You have guys, Notre Dame, Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, Northwestern, right? They're all part of the Purdue. They're all part of the fabric in the history of Chicago sports, and they've all got good players from this area, and so there's connections everywhere. And so you're battling. Number one, you're in state. And people think that should carry some weight, and it does, but it's also, it's not like you're at Nebraska and recruiting in Nebraska, or Wisconsin and recruiting in Wisconsin. Right? You're competing against a lot of other programs that quite frankly are winning and have won. You know, Notre Dame's obviously been in the college football playoff recently. Wisconsin in the history that they've had. Iowa's been very successful lately, and you're starting to see teams from the South, Tennessee, Kentucky. South Carolina, you're starting to see some of these teams come up and recruit the Midwest because of the lineman aspect, because of the workmanship and the work ethic of the people of the city, and there's a lot of good football in and around the city, and so in the Chicagoland area, I should say, not just the city, but that's a challenge because from Illinois, you know, we took over from a staff that didn't really recruit the state as well as maybe they should have, and you know, so that's a big part of what we're trying to do is get back in the city and in the state, not just the city, but the state. And we've called every high school coach. We've gone into schools. We signed 12 kids in our last signing class from the state of Illinois, and our 2 commits this year are already from Illinois. And so it's certainly a priority for us. And I think just making that effort has helped us with a lot of these high school coaches. And I think it helps, you know, the guys that recruit Chicago from our team have connections here, right? I obviously played here. Our D-line coach played down in Thornton. He recruits the South Side. And then our outside linebackers coach was at Northern Illinois for 6 years and recruited out west, you know, in like the St. Charles and Batavia, in that area. So we've got people that have connections. They've got relationships. And so I think that's going to continue to help. And then we got to walk the walk. It's one thing to say something; it's another to live it and to do it. And that's so hopefully we've at least made an honest, you know, effort at that in the year we've been here. But you know, there's more work to do, and we're going to continue to do that. But that's been probably the biggest challenge. And then the other thing is you know, we're all competing for the same 4 or 5 guys, and
it's true.
And let's not forget too, like, what you're seeing, especially in Illinois, these kids that are juniors and seniors, they've spent the last 2 years not training, not in school because of COVID. And that is something that I didn't expect.
Interesting. That's a good point.
And you're seeing it. And now you're going to school and you're seeing these great 24 and 25 classes. Every coach is talking about how good their sophomores are and how good their freshmen are. And you've got this junior and senior class that has unfortunately missed a lot of development time in a critical time in a young man's life, you know. And, it's unfortunate, but so that's another challenge that we're seeing. But then here's the other part too, guys, is you know, we recruit not just Chicago and Illinois, we recruit the whole country.
Of course.
And that's another challenge is we go, you know, I was out in Jersey last week, and I'll be up in Minnesota and you know, out in DC and things next week. And that guys don't get that. They think, okay, well, the guy in the MSL, you know, is really good.
Yeah. But guess what? There's somebody else that's dominant
in
Michigan or whatever,
Cleveland or Jersey or somewhere else, you know? And so just that, and if you're honest and transparent, which I usually am with those guys, and you know, you develop a credibility there, and hopefully they appreciate that. But yeah, we're going to recruit the state hard and make it a priority, because we need to build this thing with players from the footprint of what we are, a Big Ten school in the Midwest, on those type of values.
I love that. That. I think keeping guys in state is a huge thing. So Bart Miller from U of I, offensive line coach, joining us for a little bit longer. Sorry, MJ, go ahead.
You're good. Bart, I just want to go back to something you said real quick. You pointed out the Midwest seems to produce a lot of offensive linemen. You noted the work ethic a lot of people in the Midwest have. What is it? I mean, from your time at U of I and at Wisconsin, the amount of great offensive linemen that have been produced there. What is it about the Midwest that just grooms incredible offensive linemen?
Well, that's an interesting question, and we can get pretty deep here, but
go for it.
It goes back to a lot of different things, a lot of factors. Number one, the history of this area, right, was industrial and agricultural based, right? These are hardworking people, people that came over from Northern Europe and things like that. So you've got some genealogy there, right? I mean, you go up to Wisconsin and the parents are big, right? They're all Scandinavian and German and things of that nature, right? But
farmer strength.
Well, their diet, right? You're eating a lot of beef, sausage, corn. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's the science of it, right? I mean, the nutrition piece is big, but they are very blue collar, right? I mean, people work for a living in this part of the country, and there's a kind of a moral compass, you know, that there's a work ethic here, and that transfers over to the game, right? And it's the weather, right? It's cold weather. You're playing. You know, you're not playing in 85 degrees in November. Nope. You're playing in -4 in the snow. And, you know, there's a toughness that requires to live in this part of the country. That translates over into sports. That translates over into a lot of things in life. And that carries over to their children and generations. And then you've got the history of Big Ten football. You got the history of these different programs where these kids grew up watching, you know, these college programs of Notre Dame and Iowa, Wisconsin, Nebraska, right? The history of running the football, physical natured kids, right? Big old linemen, these O-line schools. And then the pro teams are the same way, right? You got a lot of the guys now that their dads are remember and were cheering on the 85 Bears and know those guys, right? And it just becomes a fabric of the community. Right. And everyone wants to play football because that's what you do here in the Midwest. And then, so there's a lot of deeper things than just, you know, playing and signing up for the team in high school, what the high school rules are and all that kind of stuff. Right. Quite honestly, there's spring ball in Florida and DC and Maryland and Texas and California. There's not spring football in Illinois or anywhere in the Midwest. And you could think that's maybe a hindrance, but it's really not. The people here are, it's ingrained in you early, and you take a lot of pride in it, and I think that carries over.
So, Bart, I have to ask you this question. So, talking that point about that you just said with spring ball and stuff like that, are you more inclined to look at guys that are multi-sport athletes? Because I know how we are kind of shifting, and I've seen it from a high school standpoint, the shifting of more sport-specific athlete, and I don't like it personally. But that being said, do you like seeing kids, and I say kids respectfully, athletes playing multiple sports instead of just being sport specific to football or whatever?
Absolutely. In fact, it's kind of a knock against them if they're not. And
love it.
You know,
I love it.
Somewhat hypocritical because I did that. I focused on one later on in my high school career, and it's one of my biggest regrets that I have. You
used to throw it in track, right?
Well, yeah, but I did that just to do something, right? I wish I would have applied myself more there. And you know, I enjoy the game of baseball. I wish I would have stuck with baseball. I wish I would have played basketball. I wish I would have done these things that I love. As an O-line coach now, I love wrestlers. I love guys that like to compete. I love, and it doesn't matter what sport. If you're out, and now lacrosse is taking hold in Illinois, right? So that's a cool, another way to be physical and run around and things. But we look for competitors. We look for guys that want to compete. They seek out the work. They seek out the grind. It's easy to say, okay, well, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to focus on football. I'm going to focus on training. I'm going to do this. And we all know that they might mean well, but what are they really doing, right? Exactly. Working out 3 times a week. Okay. Right. You know, it's really not going to help them as much as it would being on a team, competing, trying to win, working on it with your high school, you know, all that type of stuff. There's so many benefits to playing multiple sports now, and you know, and different skill sets, right? Different skill sets. Basketball, drops, even big guys like drop step and the hip flexibility that takes with that, the conditioning it takes with that. Even the track, like throwers, right? Guys that can spin, the body control they have, and the power that generates through the torque and when they throw, and sprinters, right? I mean, it's not the 400 is in the 200 are two of the hardest races there are.
Yep,
And guys that can sit there and compete that's pretty special, right? When you got a guy that's working for that, and so there's a lot of different things that we look for in those things. But yeah, absolutely. 3 sports. If I could recommend anything to athletes these days is just play and compete.
Yep. Agree. So Rook, MJ, I'm sorry. I didn't know if you had a question for another question for Bart. There's a fan did ask a question, Bart. I'm going to toss it up on the screen. What's your favorite college stadium you've coached at?
Oh, that's a great question. I would probably say, I grew up in Nebraska, so going back to Nebraska to coach was kind of a dream come true. But there's so many in the Big Ten that are just awesome game day atmosphere. Wisconsin's a great atmosphere. The Ohio State's a great atmosphere. There's some really cool places. Even when I was in Florida and we played at the Swamp and things, and in the Rose Bowl probably. I mean, just these cathedrals of college football where these histories, right? You've watched games on TV. You remember, when this play happened, and here I am standing on that same moment. That to me, as a fan of the game, that is probably the most surreal for me is when I'm on the field before the game and I'm looking up and I'm remembering just the history of that place. And even now in Illinois, the history there. I mean, Red Grange and Dick Butkus and some of the greatest ever have played there in the history of that school. So there's a lot of cool places, but I would say those that I listed are probably my favorites.
I agree. I love that. And it has to be super humbling too. It has to be super humbling.
Oh yeah. There was a moment in our last Rose Bowl, we were playing Stanford and we were down 2. It was I think it was 18-16 if I'm not mistaken, but we had gotten the ball with I think it was like 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. And I pulled my line over before we took the field and gave him a little bit of a pep talk and reminded him on some tips and reminders. And I said, now let's go win the Rose Bowl and send him out there. And that's as awesome. They're walking out, I looked up and it was kind of that one moment for me where I saw the whole crowd and it's dark, and the lights are on and awesome. Here they are running on the stadium, and it was somewhat breathtaking, So you look back very fondly on those times, and that's when you realize, this business is very stressful and can be frustrating at times, but it's incredibly rewarding, and it is a dream come true.
Moments like that, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, exactly right.
But all right, man. So I gotta ask you. Obviously, the Chicago Bears did draft one of your offensive linemen, Doug Kramer. Yep. So what are some things that you can tell as a Chicago Bears fan to make me feel like, damn, this is a good draft pick?
Well, make Bruce feel better.
I tell you what, if Doug was 6'4", he would have been a day 1 pick. And that's to me, that's what people have to get over. They have to get over the measurables. This kid's been told his whole life, you're too small, you're undersized.
Right.
But he's an incredibly tough kid. He's dependable. He's smart. He is athletic. I mean, his pro day numbers. If you look at
his numbers,
he can run now.
He was classified as elite. After his numbers, he was classified in the elite category. I
mean, I don't put a whole lot of stock in a 40 for an offensive lineman, but he ran a 4.83, and that's flying.
Yeah, that's really good.
A 300-pound kid, But the thing that Doug really does is he prepares like a professional. I mean, he had it. So his class load was very minimal his last semester, and he was up in our offices all day long, just like a pro guy would be doing, right? Preparing, watching pressures, watching formational cut-ups, things of that nature, and going over the game plan, imitating his calls and things. So he prepares very, very well. He was always well prepared. What the defense was going to show him, he could read defenses. He could identify defenses very quickly. He had a high football IQ because of the way he prepared for the game.
That's huge.
We also gave him, and this is rare in college football nowadays, we gave him command of protection. So what that means is, right, he made an identification and then he would be able to direct the protection. And most college guys aren't doing that. And in fact, he came back from the one of those NFLPA bowls or whatever those all-star games are that he went to. he was the only one that had that authority and had that autonomy to do. And so that's a rarity. And so, you know, in the NFL, they do that, right? And you got to be able to do that. And that's one of the knocks right now is that the development and the preparation for O-linemen across college football is declining because of these different types of tempo, speed offenses and things like that. They take the onus off the O-line, and we put the onus on to Doug and on the O-line. And so we put a tremendous amount of pressure on him to do those things. And he excelled. And so I think that was really good. He's got great work ethic. He does play with that chip because everyone told him he was undersized. And, you know, he's finishes. Like if you go back and watch the Nebraska game, if you have the first game of the year, he had 19 knockdowns, which is the most I've ever had. It's the most I've ever had. Travis Frederick had 16 against Ohio State one year, and he was the highest paid center in the league before he retired. And Doug had 19 against Nebraska. And just, you know, that's an incredible number. I had 14 myself against BYU, and I thought that was high, and Doug crushed it. So he's a very physical kid, plays with a chip. He wants to finish. He wants to bury people. But the thing that I think that to give Doug some credit, when we got here, he was on the ground a lot. And that's not something you want in the NFL. And we tweaked a few things with his technique and his steps and things like that. And you start seeing him coming off the ball a little bit better and bringing his second step through on blocks. And he was vastly improved. And that was a big step for him. And I think that's what ended up getting him drafted eventually is his ability to reach guys like an outside zone and stretch plays. And then his ability to pull, you know, and you know, so I think all those things bode well. He's 6'2", guys. I mean, this is what he is. But he's a heck of a player, and I can't wait to watch him. I really hope this one sticks because he's a fan, right? I mean,
it's awesome.
The greatest warriors fight fiercest when defending their home, you know.
I like that. I like that.
That's where he'll be, and so I'm so proud of him and so excited that he went to Chicago. That's just such a great fit, and hopefully, you know, he goes out and prepares like he can and plays like he can, and you know, they utilize him well.
Awesome. I love that. I love to hear that. Incredible. A couple more questions. Offensive line coach from U of I, Bart Miller, joining us. All right, man. So I have one last question for you. Like we usually ask all of our guests that, you know, some random ass questions. So you're not, you know, taken away from that. So you get the random ass question too.
Okay.
All right, man. So what does Bart Miller do when he's away from family, when he's away from everybody else or whatever, and he's recruiting? What's your go-to time frame? Like, what are you doing? Are you reading up on people? Like, what's your free time like? What's going on? And what's the drink of choice while you're doing it?
That's a good question. Well, on the road, it depends on where I'm at. But if I've got any time, I usually try to find like the best rated restaurant where I'm at. And go and just crush whatever they're and then I'm a big like German beer guy.
Really?
So German beers, like Spaten, Hofbrau, Augustiner, Paulaner. Those are kind of my favorites. And then I like bourbon. I like Buffalo Trace bourbon. So those are my two drinks.
Ooh.
And yeah, I usually try to find a nice restaurant when I'm on the road and kind of do the foodie thing, I guess, you know, or find if I'm at like a place that's got a lot of history or something like a big city or something that I try to go someplace historical or something like that. But and I like to fish too. I like to fish when I'm home with the boy. I got two little boys, and so we like when I'm home recruiting, I like to sneak away to the lake and fish with them.
So Eric and hold on, sorry, MJ. So I'm sorry. So real quick, Bart, I don't know if you know this, but Eric and I ended up starting another show called Talking BS, Beers and Sports. So,
nice.
Yeah, so we Eric's in the chat right now, and we're going to send you some goodies because Eric's actually opening his own beer business too. So we got some stuff in mind for you, man. We got some stuff in mind.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. I look forward to it.
With that, Bart, I am going to ask you a question. I need the honest answer because the honest answer is yes. Could you outdrink Bruce?
Oh.
There's very few people that can hang with me.
Oh, hey, man. Next time you're in Chicago, let's do this.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
my gosh.
I got size on my side, though. You know, I got 6'4", about 280 on my size. So.
Hey, 6 feet, 210.
We're close.
Yeah, right.
Bart,
Awesome.
last question I have for you before we let you go. We appreciate your time here. Is Bruce and I love asking offensive linemen about this. And since you're an offensive lineman coach, I'm very curious your take. We love asking about trash talk. So do you in any way, shape, or form, I know you encourage it, but do you ever coach your guys on trash talk? And particularly how to get in certain guys' head, depending on what the matchup may be.
We do coach the mental side of the game, right? So we will tell them
good answer.
To police the game, their way, right? And use whatever means necessary to do that. But I won't give them the words. They got to be creative enough to figure that out. But we do coach very highly the mental side of the game and to get into an opponent's head and things of that nature. That's certainly a valuable aspect for the trenches, right? I mean, that you got to be able to we talk about owning the line of scrimmage and knowing you're going to win and playing with that measure of confidence. And if that means you got to take them down a little bit or have a little swagger to you, then so be it. But then you better back that up too, right? And so there's a little bit of a give and take there with that. But absolutely, I mean, what happens down in that line is not for the faint-hearted, and that's very much coached.
Love it. Get that Squat Wally call, dude.
Squat Wally. I forgot about Squat. That's a blast from the past.
I love it. So real quick, Eric did say, he even said it, we'll send him some goodies.
Nice. So, I appreciate that. Appreciate that, Eric.
But all right, man.
Well, Bart, thank you so much, my guy, for spending some time with us. Obviously, you and Bruce go way back, so we appreciate that. But you've given us some fantastic nuggets and some great stories that we'll definitely remember.
Awesome, guys. Thank you. Congrats on all the success. I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, Bart. Much appreciated, brother. We'll stay in touch, man.
Okay. Take care, guys.
Later.
Talk to you later.
So that was awesome. Absolutely. Bart's awesome. Bart's a good dude. He's incredible, like at what he does. So it was good stuff, man. It's good stuff.
That was awesome. And Richie said this in our ear, and I think he said it in the private chat too. Clearly, that man is a recruiter because he
was amazing.
Very
like,
well spoken.
100%. He was like that in high school.
Those were some good stories.
He was like that in high school too. He was always able to articulate himself very, very well. And I love the fact that he didn't immediately go to the pancake he had on me in practice. He remembered me with my knowledge of sports. So I much appreciated that part. And I was the one that brought up the me getting trucked by him. So
Bruce, he was just working you. He was
for real, dude. He
was recruiting you.
Like I said, man, he was a big fucking dude. So it was
oh my gosh.
It was fun though. It was fun. Good shit though. Good
That's
shit.
Awesome.
But
and to everybody here right now, good evening.
Oh, well, thank you.
Happy Thursday.
Much appreciate, Si. Appreciate you, brother.
Yes.
Happy Thursday.
It is a beautiful Thursday, and we have a few things to talk about today. We got some NFL schedule releases. We've got more NBA playoffs. Major League Baseball is a full month in, I think, which is crazy to say that we're a full month into the baseball season. But Bruce, it's funny. I was sitting down last night. I had the vivid thought that I wanted to tell you this, and I don't know how I remembered because I'm just as spacey as you are. I do want to talk about baseball first because I was sitting there last night and I was like, dude, I just want to go take batting practice right now. Like when it gets hot, the first time it's hot, I want to mow the lawn on a Saturday morning. I want to take care of a yard, and then I want to go play a doubleheader and just sweat my butt off for 4 hours, have my arm hurt at the end of the day, grab some ice cream, and take a cold shower. Like that's what I want right now. That's my ideal Saturday that I wish I could have this weekend.
I love it.
Unfortunately, duty calls and I'll be working. But
yeah,
it's officially summertime. It's officially baseball season.
Dude, it's been mind. So I have had so to those of you guys that are watching right now that don't know, I have not worked at all this week. I've been laid up. I've been sick. I've been
lucky man.
True. I didn't actually start feeling better until yesterday. And then thankfully for the show with Eric and I, and then today, but anyway, so I'm tangenting and I don't mean to, but the one thing I want to touch on is how well the Yankees are playing right now. And I'm not a huge Yankee fan.
Well.
I am not a huge Yankee fan. I to be honest with you, like I kind of can't stand them, But
I want them to lose as much as possible, but they're still playing very good baseball.
The reason why I'm watching them as much as I'm watching them is because obviously I'm an Anthony Rizzo fan, from the Cubs and all that jazz. So they've been absolutely freaking raking, and it's been amazing. It's been awesome. And yeah, man, like I think if I remember correctly, who was our predictions at the beginning of the year? We got to start remembering this shit.
We really do. I believe we both predicted Blue Jays.
Yeah, I think so too. And in the show with with the show with Eric and I ended up saying I thought I said White Sox. White Sox are going to represent the AL in the World Series.
Oh, are we talking representing AL or just AL?
AL. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, I said so. I had Richie, our producer, here say I did say Blue Jays. You're correct on that, but I picked the White Sox to be in the World Series. Which, by the way, real quick, I'm gonna touch on this too. And I'm going everywhere like always. Speaking of White Sox, how about their game being canceled because of COVID again?
They had a game canceled because of COVID.
Or postponed, excuse me. It was you're right. It's crazy. I don't know if you heard about that or down there in Peoria.
I did not.
But yeah, no, they had the game today.
Oh, okay, I'm reading it right now. Guardians hit with COVID-19 outbreak. Manager Francona out.
I didn't know that was still a thing. And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful manner. So before anyone gets pissed off at me, that's
right
whatsoever.
It's just I didn't know that they still did that.
Right. I'm curious to, and I don't know this, so maybe Richie can look it up. I'm curious to what degree they have to continue protocols for COVID in Major League Baseball right now.
Well, I think it's still at the point in time in most sports, if you test positive for COVID, then I think you're still out. But it's such a short time that it doesn't really impact people anymore. I know the A's had a couple people go on the injured list or whatever we call it now because of COVID. I think Marcus Stroman just went on the injured list because of COVID, maybe. So I know a couple people have been going on the list across Major League Baseball, but for
So basically, they say that games are canceled or postponed if there's a dramatic breakout of COVID. From what it sounds like. Richie was talking to us in our ear. Sorry.
So I think also partially it was defined as that because isn't Terry Francona still have health problems? Yes. Am I thinking of the correct guy? I believe that's Terry Francona. And so I want to say if he has health problems, then a COVID breakout in a Cleveland locker room is more.
Yeah, he had
diverse.
He had gastrointestinal issues back in 2020, and he had a staph back in 21. So yeah, I would say it is a completely different deal if you're talking about the Cleveland locker room. However, I still don't know about postponing a game. I understand just one game in Major League Baseball is not a big deal. They do that all the time with rainouts. There's 162. Exactly. It's easy.
Find another time to play them.
It's an easy fix.
Right. But that is a fair point, Bruce, that it's weird to still see a game postponed because of COVID. But, and we'll get to this a little bit later, like the Warriors coach Steve Kerr isn't coaching right now because he has COVID. He's not allowed to coach. Right. So, I mean, it's still slightly, just barely affecting sports in weird manners.
It is what it is. We're going to have to live with it. Bottom line.
However, I want to keep giving you credit because it is rare, number one, that you are so accurate on a prediction. It is rare, number two, that I keep remembering that you were correct and giving you public credit. The New York Mets still have the best record in the National League at 22-11. So they had one of the best comebacks the other day. They came back down like 8-9-0
real quick
in the ninth.
So Mike ended up commenting Cleveland had no one to coach. That's why.
Okay. Well, that makes more sense then. So it's not necessarily the amount of cases, it's all of their coaches were out. That makes more sense. Appreciate the context.
Anyway, sorry.
That makes a little bit more sense.
Right, it does.
Okay, so, we'll stop ranting about that. But the Mets had a great comeback. They've been playing really good baseball, and they're 22-11. The Braves, I still think that division will even out a little bit. I still think the Braves are the better baseball team. The Mets had a hot start last year, and the Braves had a slow start, and the Braves won the World Series. So I'm not worried about the Braves. I'm impressed by the Mets, but they're one of those teams at this point in time that until I actually see them go to the playoffs, have some success, I'm still going to be a little bit questionable until I actually see them make them go all the way.
That's fair. I mean, I didn't bet on it. I didn't put money on it. I just like some of the
right.
I just like some of the things that they were.
I'm still just surprised that you pulled the Mets out. It just baffles me.
The addition of Scherzer, the different colored eyes, it just turned me on a little bit, and I was like, I need to go with this.
Okay, that's fair. I am a big fan of his eyes. I can stare into his eyes all day,
and honestly, he's an absolute. Obviously, he's filthy. I'm curious. And we didn't do this in our pre-show. I'm curious to see what his ERA is right now.
Richie's got us. Richie will tell us what his ERA is.
2.92 right now. Got it.
Wow, faster. But the other thing I do want to touch on, the Angels are playing fantastic baseball. They have done a very good job. Obviously, they have Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, and that's kind of like a cheat code in and of its own, right?
Damn,
Sorry. You good?
No, I just saw what the Astros have done in their last 10 games, and I freaked out. Sorry, go ahead.
You talked about that on your show last night.
I know, but 10-0. They're 10-0 in their last 10 games.
You talked about it on your show last night.
I was pretty drunk.
How did you freak out about it?
I got pretty drunk.
Okay, I'm proud of you.
Anyway, continue.
But no, so what the Angels have done, they've got their stars. They paid the big money for Trout, Ohtani, Rendon. Their pitching, they had Detmers, who I know Sai's a big fan of, threw a no-hitter the other day, rookie. Anthony Rendon in that game, by the way, hit a home run left-handed in his first ever at bat. Angels are first in slugging percentage, Richie tells us. So they are just hitting the cover off the ball in a division where they've been killed by the A's and the Astros for the last decade plus. Even having Albert Pujols at the beginning of the 2010s did nothing for them. I mean, honestly, if the A's are going to suck, it's good for me to see the Angels succeed. I got nothing against them, and they're playing very exciting baseball. It's fun to watch.
No, I agree. And the only caveat that I have, the only comment that I have about that, I actually put it in the chat, is does Joe Madden screw it all up with them? So it was. I
don't think he's gonna screw it all up.
It was really interesting. So today on Waddle and Sylvie, they had Jake Arrieta on, and I ended up listening to him talk about how that there was a part of that locker room that got pissed off at him in the World Series and the changes the pitching changes that he ended up making during the World Series and things like that. Yeah, so because there's a pocket of Cub fans that were pissed off about the things that he did, and some of the Cubs players ended up saying that we're going to win despite the stupid shit that you decided to do for us. So it was basically that's the interview that I had with Arrieta and one of the things that he talked about. So I don't think Joe Madden is a terrible manager by any means at all. I actually think he's great for building programs and building teams, and he has different unique ways of team building activities, hence the zoo thing with the Cubs he did. And I don't obviously I don't read what he does now all the way out in Anaheim. I don't know, but no, I think he's a very good leader. But again, some of the decision making that he may make is a little questionable. So it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. And I can't wait to see the Angels beat the Astros in that division this year. So that way I can talk shit to Jason.
Please. As long as it's not the Astros, I don't care.
I love it.
I just hate the Houston Astros. Oh my gosh.
I love it. Yeah. I wonder if
that
they're cheating
franchise. Oh my gosh. 5'6" Jose Altuve. There is no way on this earth that man is that good at hitting without cheating. The bat is as big as him. Bat is as big as him. Richie's saying his quads are big. His quads are tiny.
Quadzilla.
He's tiny. He's not AJ Dillon.
Taekwondo.
Don't tell me that Jose Altuve is that good. He looks like a child. I've played T-ball when I was 6 years old against bigger dudes than Jose Altuve. There's no way that man, he either cheating, he on steroids. That's not natural. There is no way Jose Altuve can hit a ball without steroids and without knowing what's coming.
We got him going. You got him going.
Oh, I love Justin Verlander with all my heart.
Wow.
Where's
your fiance about that?
In MLB 2K11 on the Wii, Justin Verlander was my favorite pitcher, and I have loved him with my dear heart ever since. Even though he destroyed the Oakland A's multiple times in Detroit, he's destroyed the Oakland A's multiple times in Houston. I love that man with all my heart. He's one of the greatest pitchers I've ever seen pitch. Altuve may be a stud, but it's all manufactured because they cheat. That's what they do in Houston. Anyway.
All right, so real quick. All right, I got you. So that being said, I'm gonna bring the conversation in a different area now.
Please do.
The NBA playoffs. Okay, so what I love right now going on in the NBA playoffs is you have teams that are a part of this that have built their teams and not bought their teams. And I love that. Despite the Warriors losing by 40 last night.
49.
I'm not. That was a jab. I'm sorry. That was a jab. You could.
No, it's fine. Because no NBA team has ever won a championship losing a playoff game by 50, I believe is what the stat is. It's either 40 or 50. I can't remember. And the Warriors won by one fewer point, or they lost by one fewer point.
So good. They can still win
that was. So they could still win a championship. It could happen. It's still possible.
So what I found interesting though about that game, and I didn't watch it. I'll flat out say I didn't watch that game because Eric and I did our show, and then afterwards we smoked a cigar, ate some Chips Ahoy. It was amazing. But one of the things that I do want to ask you is, so the Warriors, I love the Warriors. I actually like their brand of basketball. I think they're fun to watch. Curry is an absolute beast, but I loved Ja Morant talking shit and doing imitating him after.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. I think that's awesome. I think that's good content. I think it's fun basketball. But that being said, though, what's going on with the Warriors, man? What's going on with the Warriors? They still winning 6, winning 7?
I think they still win. I think it was a combination of a lot of things. You have a letdown game. With Steve Kerr being out, the energy is clearly different. You know, Mike Brown, I wish him the best of luck. He's going to be the head coach of the Sacramento Kings. It's a really cool, little nugget that he's the head coach of 2 teams at once, right? Because he's acting head coach while Steve Kerr's out with COVID. And Steve Kerr really hadn't been himself for the first few games of the series because he was sick. He was going around with a mask everywhere. He didn't have a voice. He had lost his voice. So Mike Brown had really been coaching since the beginning of the series.
Sorry.
I think the problem the Warriors have had in the last 2 games all boils down to shot selection and the fact that the Grizzlies just don't care. They're a young team that has absolutely nothing to lose.
I agree.
So they're going to play
I do agree with
balls to the walls for as long as the good Lord allows them to in this series. And by the good Lord, I mean the actual good Lord and Steph Curry, because the things he can do with the basketball. Good.
We already know that. Steph Curry's an absolute beast.
So really, do I think there's any chance whatsoever that the Grizzlies are going to win Game 6 in the Chase Center in Golden State and go back and beat 3 straight times in an elimination game? Steph, Dre, Clay, all of those guys. No, it's not going to happen. I think it's a great story. I think the Grizzlies are going to be at this point in the playoffs a lot of times in the next few years. I just don't think they have what it takes to win 3 straight elimination games against Steph Curry and that Warriors team.
No,
the only person to do that is LeBron. And I'm sorry, but not even Ja Morant is LeBron.
Well, he's going to be out for the rest of the series.
Exactly. So even with Ja, even if Ja were to come back perfectly healthy the next 2 games, I still don't think it happens. I think Steven Adams being a part of that series has been huge.
I love Steven Adams.
Clearly a deficiency the Warriors have is they're not as good on the glass.
Dude, Steven Adams though is a guy that you want on your team though, because like he's not like
sure.
you know what I'm saying? Like he's not that like glamorous type guy, and he's not gonna put like just score like at will or anything like that. Like he's that like meat potatoes. I don't give a shit. By the way,
he's gonna give you 10 points, 15 rebounds, 2 blocks every game,
and play defense and talk. And you see on the back end that he does the things that he does. I love it, and I think that it's a very he's kind of a journeyman a little bit, but like whatever team he is on is usually a playoff type caliber team, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I think the Warriors win Game 6. If they don't win Game 6, I'm still not inherently worried. Like I said, I don't think the Grizzlies are gonna make it all the way. The team that I am worried / disappointed in, however, is the Celtics. And given
that game last night, Bobby Portis,
it was such a good game.
Okay, so I didn't watch that either. But
I watched it live. I watched the last like 5 minutes live.
The Celtics were winning that whole game.
They were up by 11 with 10 minutes left.
But then like, dude, I love Bobby Portis. Like that, the type of player that he is, he's that again, same type of guy as like fucking Steven Adams is. Same person, same type of guy. He's that annoying player that you fucking like. You're like, how is this guy beating us? He gets an offensive rebound.
He's Draymond Green who can shoot threes and wears goggles.
Right. He's got like a dance, I guess, because up in Milwaukee they say that he's got like the Bobby Portis dance or some shit like that.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Whatever. But like watching him play, like he could shoot the three, shoot the corner three, especially because when you have Giannis driving to the basket, just kick it out and pop, boom, done. Dude, we saw it in the Bulls series. We saw what he was capable of when he was a Bulls player. Dude, the Bucks win this series. The Bucks are going to win this series.
Oh yeah. Same thing with Boston. They're a very good basketball team. But what the Bucks can do, especially in Milwaukee, there is no way on this earth.
You have an MVP and you have shooters.
Yeah.
And you have a guy that drives to the basket. And to be honest with you, Giannis gets all fucking calls. I'm sorry. He gets all the fucking calls. He drives to the basket, lowering his shoulder a lot. From the times that I've been watching.
But so did Shaq. So have all the dominant big guys.
Agree.
You didn't. It was because you didn't see guys flopping all the time when Shaq was playing. They tried to actually stop him.
Fair too, dude.
You wouldn't see somebody Jason Tatum size flopping against somebody Giannis's size 20 years ago.
Yeah, but you never had
that now. And this is me sounding like you all of a sudden.
So true. But you also like never had a guy that is almost 7 feet tall handle the basketball the way he can. Hence the reason why you have to have Jason Tatum.
Giannis only weighs 240 pounds. Shaq weighed 285.
True.
And people tried to defend Shaq when he was backing him down. So I just don't like everybody plays James Harden now and wants to flop and cry and moan all over the court. You know why the Bucks won yesterday?
Have I rubbed off on you? Like, are you okay?
I know. I'm thinking that too, and I don't like it. It's scary. But the Celtics lost yesterday because every other play, Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown or Marcus Smart or somebody went to the basket, and then they would get fouled, and they would complain to the refs for 3 seconds before they got back on defense. And you have to play transition basketball against the Bucks. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And so the Celtics lost because they were complaining to the refs instead of playing transition basketball.
Didn't I say Bucks Suns in the championship this year? I think I did.
Yeah, we both did.
Yeah. And I think we're going to see that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't just right now the way the Warriors are playing, I don't think if the Suns are completely healthy, I think it'll be a really good series. I think it'll go to 6 or 7 games, but I don't see the Warriors winning that series. And I don't care who wins Philly, Miami. They're not beating Giannis.
Oh, I don't know who this is. Wait, so there's 2 players.
That's Kyle.
And Wisconsin, they get all that. Oh, that's awesome, Kyle. Yes.
It appears there are.
Well played, sir. Well played. Love it.
It appears there are. Kyle is also a very big Bulls and Bears fan.
I love it. I do. I already like him already with that comment. Good shit. Good shit, Kyle.
Oh, my gosh.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so NBA playoffs, I think we're still looking at Bucks Suns real quick. Richie's moving us along, so thank you for that, Richie.
Yes, sir.
We have some schedule release leaks. They're officially announcing it right now, so I think we have the majority of what's going on with the schedule. The big thing that we'll want to talk about is Packers play Bears primetime week 2 in Lambeau.
Week 2 in Lambeau.
That'll be the home opener for the
Sunday
Packers.
Sunday night football too.
To Minnesota week 1. It is Sunday night football.
Stop putting the Bears in primetime games against the fucking Packers, because all they do is lay eggs and they suck. Sorry.
So Bruce, I want you to give me what the Vegas line for that game will be, and then I want you to give me
I said
your line for that game, given all the terrible games the Bears have had on Sunday Night Football in Lambeau in the last 10 years.
So last year they played the Packers well in the first half in Lambeau, if you remember that. Yes. First half. And then after that, the Packers just absolutely just destroyed the Bears. And Aaron Rodgers did his bullshit. Belt. But God, can you tell I'm bitter?
What?
Can you tell I'm bitter? All right. So what?
No.
All right. So
not at all.
We talked about this earlier in the pre-show. I originally said 8.5, and you said 10.5, and I'm kind of leaning towards the 10.5 now more so than ever. So I actually think the Vegas line will probably be like 10. I'll say 10. I'll just say 10. I won't give it the hook. I'll just say 10.
Okay, that's fair.
God, so bad.
Even with
dude. Okay, so the Bears schedule. I'm sorry. The Bears schedule. They have Green Bay week 2, like you said. Then they have the Commanders on Thursday Night Football. Why the fuck are you playing the Commanders on a primetime game? No one cares about watching
Thursday Night Football hasn't been a primetime game in 5 years.
Nobody cares about watching the Bears play the Commanders at all.
They'd rather watch Third Down Thursdays than watch the Bears play the Commanders.
Bam. I like that. And then
so Bruce, I'm gonna real quick run through the Packers schedule.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give you my honest record prediction. And we're going to do this very quickly because we only have like 4 minutes.
4 minutes. All right, go.
Week 1 in Minnesota, win. Week 2 against the Bears at home, win. Week 3 against Tampa on the road in September. The Packers are going to get absolutely demolished and it will be embarrassing. Loss. On the road against at home against New England, doesn't scare me. Win. On the road against the Giants, that is the London game.
Win.
So that puts the Packers at 4-1. At home the next week against the Jets, win. 5-1.
5-1.
On the road against Washington the next week, win.
Oh my God, 6-1.
6-1. They play in Buffalo Sunday Night Football.
Loss.
I think that's a realistic loss. Yeah. So that puts you at 6-2. Then we got the Lions. I don't care where you're playing. That's a win.
7-2.
We got the Cowboys in Green Bay. That's a win. So that puts the Packers at 8-2. At home against the Titans, I think that's a close game, but I'm still going to give the edge to the Packers there because it's Aaron Rodgers versus Ryan Tannehill. And Richie says the Titans are going to suck this year. I'm inclined to agree. Even if you were to be conservative and give the Packers a loss because Derrick Henry might run all over them, I'll give you that. 8-3. I'll give them a loss just why not? So then you go on the road to the Eagles, win. On the road to Chicago, even if you're to give that to Chicago, that puts the Packers at 9-4. Then we have the Rams at home. Packers have been owning the Rams, 10-4. On the road against Miami, easy, 11-4. At home against Minnesota, 12-4. At home against the Lions, 13-4. Even if you were to be slightly conservative, 12-5 is the worst. I say the Packers finishing. They win the NFC North with ease.
All right, my turn. All right, we got 2 minutes left.
This is going to be depressing.
All right, yeah. All right, 49ers at home. I actually think they could win this game because I don't think the 49ers are going to be very good this year. You heard it. Anyway.
No, I agree.
So I'll say win. All right, win. 49 Green Bay second week in Green Bay, loss 1-1. Home against the Texans. God, their schedule is so bad. Home against the Texans. I think they're going to beat the Texans 2-1. At New York, win 3-1. In Minnesota, lost 3-2. Washington, win 4-2. In England, loss 4-3. In Dallas, loss 4-4. Home against the Dolphins, loss 4-5. Versus the Lions, 4-5. Oh, geez, it's home. They're gonna win 5-5. In Atlanta, loss. At Jets, dude, I actually think that they could be. Oh God, stop being a homer.
I don't think the Jets are going to be good this year.
Loss in New York against the Jets. So where am I at right now? I lost.
You're like 5-7.
Yeah, home against the Packers, loss 5-8. Bye week, home against the Eagles, loss 5-9.
5-9.
Home against the Bills, loss 5-10. At Detroit, loss 5-11. Home against the Vikings, 5-12. Loss.
So you think? So Bruce has the Bears going 5-5 to start and then losing out.
Don't give a shit.
That's very Chicago, I'll be honest.
I'm just done with it. I'm just done because until prove me wrong, Bears, prove me wrong. And I'm sure I'll have a different take after free agency and all that jazz too. So we'll see what happens.
I'm sure you will. You're going to see one good game from Justin Fields. He will be the truth, and you will be very excited.
I still think he's going to be a stud. I do. I still think he's.
The last thing I will say before we get going for the evening, because it is that time, is I have said multiple times I want Justin Fields to be good. I want the Packers-Bears rivalry to be good again because it bores me just to dump on y'all twice a year. I want Justin Fields to be good so that we can at least have some entertaining banter here.
Make the Bears-Packers rivalry good again.
Literally. And with that, Bruce,
MJ,
I'll see you next week.
Peace out, dog.
Love you.